Bring you this now. About 275 million women are living with cardiovascular disease and 7 million die, unfortunately, annually. Now, this is according to a study commissioned by Lancet. Cardiovascular diseases, which include heart disease and strokes, are the leading cause of death for women globally. Let's now talk more about this particular study and what women can do to beat the statistics. Professor Pamela Naidoo, CEO of the Heart and Stroke Foundation, joins us now all the way from Cape Town. And Prof, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I suppose I want to start this conversation with the prevalence, of heart disease in women. What is it?
Yes, it's pretty damning, actually. So good morning to you and your listeners, and thanks for having me. But it's quite an urgent situation that we need to look at from a health perspective, because if you look globally, you've got about 1/3 of women, so it's around 35% of women who die from cardiovascular disease globally. And as you rightly said, 275 million women are affected, and you have about 9 million deaths really globally. If you look at the South African scenario, it's not any much better, because you have, particularly in low and middle income countries, and South Africa is a middle income country, we have about 1.5 times more deaths in South Africa than in women in America, for example. So we do need to pay attention to the cohort of women.
And with that being said, what are the common risk factors for women?
Yes, so you see, for women, it's both sort of sex related. So in other words, just by mere fact that you are a woman, your hormones play an important role. So particularly women who are pregnant, if you are hypertensive, so high blood pressure, or if you have a preterm delivery, and if you have a high body mass index, so if you're overweight or obese. So, those are some of the sort of sex-related risk factors. Over and above that, there are common risk factors, which obviously it's a risk factor for men as well. So if you smoke, for example, high cholesterol levels, particularly bad cholesterol, so that's your LDL. And of course, familial history. So your family history is pretty important as well, because your genetics will predispose you as well.
And any symptoms, Prof, that women can look out for regarding heart disease?
So, it's a difficult one, because sometimes, you probably heard from friends and family that the person just suddenly sort of died from a heart attack, or, heart failure, for example, will slowly creep up on you. But I would say that you've got to, in a sense, the sort of classic signs and symptoms would be chest pain. But, it's not often in the left side, as people commonly believe. Could be in the middle of your chest, could be your back, your jaws. For women, it could sometimes be your stomach. So you've got to basically look out for signs and symptoms that, tell you that you're actually out of sorts and you have to have it checked. But I think more importantly, it's important to know your numbers. So in other words, make sure your body mass index is within its normal range. You eat, your health behaviors are in accordance with keeping a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So tobacco smoking is a total no-no. So I think the risk factors are particularly important, because remember, risk factors, it's not one or two, it's a cumulative effect. So the more you know about yourself and your family, the better for your health.
And just before I let you go then, Prof, the role that you have played as an organization, the Heart and Stroke Foundation, this Women's Month, what role has that been and continues to be for the rest of the month of August?
Absolutely. So there are various ways, and I think that perhaps for your listeners, you can always call us to know more. But we do run programs in communities. We also have virtual talks. We do private sector work as well. So, we're in the private and public sectors, but largely our mission is to serve those individuals or communities who won't hear enough about cardiovascular health. So there's a lot of education programs and knowledge dissemination that happens. But importantly, Women's Month goes into Heart Awareness Month, and in September, and then in October we have Stroke Week and World Stroke Day. So please do look out for the many programs and campaigns that we will implement from this point on.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Professor Pamela Naidoo, CEO of the Heart and Stroke Foundation, highlighting quite an important issue, that number being 275 million around the world. That's women that are affected by CVD.